This is it, the big one. My top 10 favorite Pokemon. These are the 10 Pokemon who wow me the most, whether it be through their designs, their battling capabilities, or nostalgic memories. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone who stuck with me these last few months. This project certainly hasn't been easy, but it's finally getting done. But enough chit-chat. Let's do this. My top 10 favorite Pokemon. Let's roll! And this is the point where I lose all credibility in the eyes of my viewers. Now before you think I'm being nostalgically biased on this one, or for those of you just tuning in, I didn't grow up with the first generation of Pokemon. My first Pokemon game was Emerald. In fact, I didn't even raise a Charizard until I got X. But oh man, it impressed me to no end. I don't think I need to mention its design. Even if its typing doesn't make any sense to me, the Dragonite design is something I'm a fan of. But Arrow, what about its— Shh! We're not there yet. But you know the drill at this point, let's move on to its battling capabilities. To be honest, Charizard is at best okay in battle. It certainly has useful special attack and speed stats, but the problem with it is twofold. One is that its move pool isn't exactly ideal, with its best special attacks being attacks like Flamethrower, Solar Beam, and Focus Blast. The second part is its typing, which, while fairly solid offensively, is a detriment defensively, with very common weaknesses and a 4x Stealth Rock weakness. So how in the world did Charizard impress me? Easy, its Mega Evolutions were the ones to amaze me. Charizard is one of only 2 Pokemon to get 2 Mega Evolutions, the other being Mewtwo, and both have practical use. Mega Charizard Y has an exceptional special attack stat, making it a superb wall breaker. Adding to this is its Drought ability, which summons the sun to power up its fire type attacks and effectively neutralize its water weakness. With the combination of its gigantic special attack stat and Drought, as well as access to Solar Beam, it can counter Charizard's normal weaknesses to water and rock types and get through even dedicated special walls. Then there's my preferred form, Mega Charizard X. It gets a nice boost to its attack and defense and gets its flying type traded out for the dragon type. And although it did get a special attack increase, you'll never see Mega Charizard X use special attacks. Why? Because it got Tough Claws for an ability, powering up any move that makes physical contacts by 33%. Couple that with a great attack boost and Charizard's rather usable physical move pool, and you have a Pokemon competitive teams have to plan for. And the perks don't stop there! With access to both Dragon Dance and Tailwind, it can buff itself and possibly its teammates to make sweeping even easier, and that's before you consider just how deadly its Dragon Fire typing is offensively, given there are very few Pokemon that can resist that stab combo. It also really helps defensively as it eases up its rock weakness and gives it some handy resistances. I may have been late raising it, but the way Charizard wowed me easily earned it a spot in the top 10. Gen 6 may have introduced the smallest roster of Pokemon thus far, but certainly went for quality over quantity because it's one of the strongest lineups in the series. But when it came to picking my favorite colorless Pokemon, it was a tough call between this one and my number 8. But in the end, the honor of my second favorite colorless Pokemon goes to Aegislash. Definitely one of the most memorable Pokemon ever, Aegislash has a ton going for it. Its design really sticks out with the sword and shield motif, and while it's a bit basic, its lore is what makes Aegislash interesting. Supposedly, in ancient times, anyone chosen by an Aegislash was destined to become a king, drawing parallels to the legend of King Arthur and Excalibur, and that is awesome. But what sticks out to me more about Aegislash is how it's used in battle. Aegislash has 2 forms. When it comes out, it's in shield form, which has superb defenses on both the physical and special side. When it uses an attacking move of any kind, however, it switches to blade form, which has some of the highest offensive stats you'll ever see. Then by using its unique move King's Shield while in blade form, it'll switch back to shield form. And King's Shield is a useful move on its own, protecting Aegislash from attacks and sharply cutting the attack of any opponent unfortunate enough to attack it directly. This makes Aegislash more of a technical Pokemon in battle, with tons of uses. You can build up your stats with Swords Dance and Autonomize, and wreck everything. You can cripple opponents with King's Shield and Toxic Wall in shield form, and much more. However, this much versatility comes at a cost. Aegislash is very tricky to use properly. Since its defenses are basically non-existent in blade form and its HP is rather low, Aegislash requires a strategic trainer, otherwise you might as well be attacking your opponent's Pokemon with a stick and a leaf. One of the best Pokemon Kalos gave us, Aegislash is definitely staying in my top 10, but if he's not my favorite Kalos Pokemon, then who is? Well...
Alright, Gen 6, the first main title 3D Pokemon game. When it comes to the roster of new Pokemon, you've gotta do something different. You've gotta step above and beyond. How about ninjas? Frogs? Hey, if you're put into Smash Bros. Before your game even came out, that must mean you're doing something right. Yeah, I think we've got a winner here. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you all to my personal favorite Pokemon out of this generation, possibly ever. And his name is Greninja. Or her name, I don't know, Pokemon genders are weird. Greninja's a very interesting case for many reasons. Doesn't mean that's a bad thing, but let's just go over everything I love about this Pokemon. For one, look at that design. It looks freaking awesome, but not too complex, making it really cool to look at. Need I even say anything about the shiny form? But aesthetics aside, how about those stats? Mwah! Beautiful! A high special attack stat with its physical attack not being too bad either, and of course with high speeds you'll be striking first a lot and be hard to hit yourself. Even though its defenses and HP aren't the greatest, due to the great typing of water and dark, being instantly knocked out isn't much of a problem at all, because you'll be doing most of the knocking out yourself. I mean, look at this move pool! And all of this is only what it can learn naturally. The possibilities with TMs and possibly even HMs are absolutely insane. You can come up with many different combinations to make the Greninja that ultimately suits your style of gameplay, and I just love that versatility. And last but not least, that ability. No, not Torrent, that's lame, but Protein, which changes your type to the type of the move that you've used. Basically, use Ice Beam, you become an Ice type. Use Extra Sensory, become a Psychic type. It's a speedy special sweeper who can change its type on the fly. It's over, we've got a winner. I mean, come on! With a diverse move pool such as this, and constantly changing your strengths and weaknesses, this means nothing, because they can't even touch you. With all these combined, it's no wonder why Greninja got itself put into the OU tier, gets a second form in the show in Gen 7, and got put into Smash Bros. He's really fun to play as, by the way. Too bad I kinda suck playing as him. Wow. I should just stick with Sonic.
Time to travel back to Nostalgia Land, I mean Gen 3, to talk about Salamence. One of the best and brightest of Hoenns, Salamence is both loved and feared. The love comes from two things, his design and performance in battle. For design, it's your traditional European dragon that's intimidating as all heck, even if his GBA sprite was But the main thing people love and opponents fear is how his beast performs in battle, because oh man, this thing's a monster! Solid speed, brilliant offenses, and a move pool geared towards taking advantage of all of this, plus the Intimidate ability to help with its only okay defense, cement Salamence as one of the best Pokemon in competitive. In fact, in 4th Gen, it was so good that it was tournament banned. It's lost merit since then, but Game Freak gave that merit right back with a shiny new Mega Evolution that— oh my god, look at those stats! They buffed its attack, gave it even more speed, gave it the Aerolate ability turning its normal type moves into flying type moves, and, most noticeably, gave it superb defense, which combined with Intimidate in its base form means it can tank physical hits way better than any Salamence ever could before. People took one look at it and put it right back in the Uber tier. But that doesn't stop me from using one on my own competitive team, it's too good. It has Dragon Dance to buff itself, as well as Dragon Claw, Fire Fang, and Aerolate Headbutt to really lay on the hurt. One of the best competitive Pokemon ever is also one of my favorite Pokemon ever. One of the first Pokemon revealed for Gen 4, a fan favorite from Gen 4, and my personal favorite Pokemon from Gen 4, Lucario. But Lucario is a Smash Spin! You can't love it as a Pokemon! First off, you're wrong, and second, get out! Anyways, unlike what that jerk thought, even though Lucario is my main in Smash, I do still love it as a Pokemon. Its design is always something that stuck out to me. The jackal-like appearance with spikes on its paws, it just exudes this feeling that I can't pin down, but I don't care. As for battling capabilities, Lucario is exceedingly versatile. With solid attack and special attack stats, as well as decent speed, it's one of the few Pokemon in competitive that can work viably as a mixed sweeper. Most sweepers are typically just physical or special, but Lucario can be either or both, making it very unpredictable. It certainly helps that his move pool has both physical and special moves to take advantage of. For the physical side, you got Close Combat, Earthquake, and priority in Bullet Punch and Extreme Speed. For special, you have his trademark Aura Sphere, Psychic, Dark Pulse, and even Dragon Pulse. But maybe this isn't enough. Yeah, you all know where this is going, he has a Mega Evolution, it's really powerful, yada yada yada. But in all seriousness, Lucario's Mega Evolution is one of the best you'll see. They really didn't do anything that remarkable, just gave him even better offenses and speed and a small defense boost. But with one tweak, Mega Lucario became feared. It got Adaptability. This rare ability increases the same type attack bonus power boost from 1.5 times to 2 times, meaning its fighting and steel moves can wreck anything that doesn't have a good defense stat. I should know, I use a Mega Lucario on a competitive team, as mixed sweeping capabilities make him amazing. Flash Cannon and Aura Sphere for effective special moves, Earthquake for those special walls, and extreme speed to pick off stragglers. Lucario won the hearts of many a trainer back in Gen 4, and he's still beloved today. One of the biggest fan favorites from Johto, Ampharos still manages to be one of my favorites. But why do I love Ampharos more than some of my best competitive Pokemon? Well, it's because it's one of the most reliable Pokemon I've ever used on a story playthrough. On almost every playthrough of Soul Silver and Black 2 I've done, Ampharos has been an integral part of my team. Looking at its stats, you might see why. With one of the highest special attack stats on electric types and reasonably solid bulk, it's an effective tank. Sure, these stats don't suit a competitive Pokemon all that well, but in a story playthrough where you can easily have a level advantage, it'll do you great. There have been so many occasions where I send in Ampharos against a gym leader's ace and it one-shots it with a good Thunderbolt. The feeling is electric, pun completely intended. But for those of you raising one in Gen 6, you'll be happy to know he was blessed with a Mega Evolution. It got even more special attack and bulk at the cost of some speed, but since Ampharos was kind of a slow Pokemon to begin with, that's hardly a consequence. In fact, because of its low speed, it's a very effective Trick Room Sweeper. On top of that, it gained a secondary Dragon type and the Mold Breaker ability, but honestly, it doesn't utilize it very well. The best thing it can get past is Lightning Rod. Regardless, ever since I first raised an Ampharos back in 2010, it's been very special to me, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. You do not mess with Haxorus. Does this design look like it wants to be messed with? No, this design says I'm gonna tear you up. Do these stats look like they're to be messed with? No, that base 147 attack stat spells do for any frail Pokemon foolish enough to stand in its way. On top of that, its move pool is absolutely devastating, with powerful attacks such as Dragon Claw, Outrage, Earthquake, Superpower, Aqua Tail, and so much more. As well as having both Dragon Dance and Swords Dance in his arsenal, meaning it can be fast and strong or just destroy everything by touching it. If your opponent has a Haxorus, you better have a good physical wall, otherwise you're dead! Sorry about that. If it isn't obvious, I really like Haxorus. You put Flygon above Haxorus? How could you do that? I thought I told you to get out! Ugh. Regardless, this is my list, and Flygon means an awful lot to me. As you know, Dragon is my favorite Pokemon type, and Flygon was the very first Dragon I ever raised. When I first caught a Trapinch in Emerald, I didn't know what to expect. It was certainly tough to raise given Trapinch's non-existent speed. Then it evolved into Vibrava, and training that was just as tough since it lost some power. Finally, after that massive uphill struggle, I was rewarded with the majesty of Flygon. Ever since then, Flygon has always had a very special place in my heart. And that's just my nostalgia. There's so much more to love about Flygon, like its majestic design. I think everyone who saw Flygon for the first time was amazed by it, and they should be. It looks so neat. In battle, it's a very well-rounded Pokemon. With base 100 attack and speed and 80 on everything else, it's reasonably solid. Its move pool is also surprisingly diverse, with the predictable Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Flamethrower, and even Solar Beam on it for some odd reason. It's not the best Pokemon competitively, but in a story playthrough, it'll serve you nicely. I should note, I've raised Flygon numerous times in Emerald, Black 2, and Alpha Sapphire, and the feeling I get when Vibrava finally evolves has never left me. I don't think there's any more that needs to be said. Nostalgic with a great design and well-rounded in battle, Flygon has and always will be one of my personal favorite Pokemon. Another dragon? Well, yeah, dragon's my favorite Pokemon type. Don't make me bring up my username again. Anyways, when it comes to the dragon type, Dragonite has always been at the top for me. A timeless classic, his design is based off a typical European dragon, and while it's pretty simple, I find it really charming because of that. In battle, it's a very well-rounded Pokemon and exceedingly versatile. With impressive attack and solid stats across the board everywhere else, it doesn't really have a weak spot. Sadly, up through Generation 4, it had a hard time making a name for itself due to it being outclassed by Salamence and Garchomp and the introduction of Stealth Rock in Gen 4. But then, in Gen 5, Game Freak descended from the heavens to give it a gift from the gods in the form of Multiscale, one of the best abilities, period. With this ability, when Dragonite is at full health, any direct damage is cut in half. This means that Dragonite can theoretically tank an Ice Beam that Salamence and Garchomp can't do without a Focus Sash. And I haven't even gone over Dragonite's extensive move pool. I'm sorry, did I say extensive? I meant monstrous. Seriously, Dragonite has one of the largest move pools I've ever seen. You have typical attacking moves like Dragon Claw, Outrage, Fire Punch, and Earthquake, but it has so much more. It has Thunder Wave to cripple opponents, Dragon Tail to work as a Power Shuffler, Roost for reliable recovery and to reuse Multiscale, Dragon Dance for a great buffing move, Rain Dance and Sunny Day for team support, and even a good special move pool with options like Thunder, Ice Beam, and Surf, and it has a decent special attack stat to use them with. Seriously, there are so many ways to build a Dragonite, it's one of the most versatile Pokemon in competitive play. Take a look at mine, the ace of my A-team. Dragon Dance to buff itself, Outrage to really lay on the hurt, Earthquake for steel types, and Aqua Jet to pick off weakened foes. There's just so much to love about Dragonite, it could have easily taken the top. However, I still have one Pokemon left to talk about. All of the Pokemon mentioned so far have either appealed to me from a nostalgic standpoint, a battle standpoint, or a design standpoint. But for number 1, I needed something that surpassed all that. For number 1, I had to choose something that went above and beyond what made a fantastic Pokemon in my eyes. And only one Pokemon fits that description. Oh yeah, Aggron is my favorite Pokemon ever, and let's be real, you all saw this one coming. Aggron is the face of my channel. Everywhere you look, my banner, my icon, my thumbnails, Aggron is everywhere on my channel. But the question arises, why do I love Aggron so much? Well, it's because Aggron embodies everything I love about a Pokemon. First, its design. Just look at that design and tell me it's not intimidating or awesome. The horns, the claws, the teeth. This thing can claim a mountainous territory for a reason. And in battle, Aggron is hardly a slouch. A solid base 110 attack stat and superb base 180 defense means Aggron can deal powerful physical hits and tank them just as well. Sure, it has 2 4x weaknesses, but since they're both predominantly physical types and Aggron can have sturdy, it's hardly a deal breaker. Especially since Aggron has a combo most Pokemon can only dream of having. Rock Head plus Head Smash. This means if you set your cards up right, you can have an Aggron spam nuclear-powered Head Smashes which would demolish the opponent's team, and he takes no damage from it! Here, let me do the math for you. Head Smash's base power is 150, and when you apply the Rock-type stab multiplier, it effectively has a base power of 225. Aggron's base attack is 110. If you decide to throw an item like a Choice Band, Life Orb, or Muscle Band on it, the power will increase. So we do all the fancy Pokemon math, and it equals a truckload of damage!
Nobody said to be mad!
Even Pokemon that resist Head Smash will have a hard time taking a hit from that. Then there's his alternate playstyle, Mega Aggron, where he trades his rock typing in for even more defense, a good attack and special defense boost, and the filter ability, meaning he takes less damage from super effective attacks, making it even harder to wear down. With a base 230 defense, the highest of any Pokemon, and filter, this monster can take a +6 stab close combat and laugh at it. But of course, the biggest reason Aggron's my number 1 is nostalgia. When I first saw Aron in Granite Cave, I was like, I want it! So I caught it. After that, Aron amazed me with his ability to tank hits, and it became a very valuable member of my team. Then it evolved into Laron, and eventually it evolved into what would become my favorite Pokemon ever, Aggron. Ever since then, Aggron has been part of my team in any game I'm given the opportunity to raise it. Emerald, Black 2, Alpha Sapphire, and whatever games come out in the future, Aggron will always have a slot reserved for it. I don't think I can say anymore. Aggron is just the perfect Pokemon for me. He has, and forever will be, my favorite Pokemon ever. I'm Dragon, and to all you Pokemon trainers out there, you should always treasure your favorite Pokemon, whether it be for their design, how they perform in battle, or some nostalgic influence. For me, Aggron will always be my number 1. Here's to Generation 7! It's over. It's finally over. Top 50 favorite Pokemon is finally done! Once again, I want to thank all my fans for sticking with me the last several months to see this project to its completion, and I want to thank everyone who was a part of this project. So I'm going to extend thanks to the Final Paradox, the Storm Sorcerer, Soul, Jack Stevenson, the Rapid Addict, the Cyber Okami, the Aura Master, Truedarkace, Grandmaster Flare, and Zephyr Revolution. And I'm going to put links to their channels if they're still making videos so you can go check them out. Also want to thank all my friends who've supported me the last few months and proofread my scripts and everything else. And with all that, I think I've earned myself a break, so for a while, don't expect to see any countdowns on my channel. I'm going on hiatus. LPs will start up again soon, so check back for those. Until next time, this is Dragon, signing out.